Alright, what's up? Arthur here, and of course, welcome back to the channel. Today's topic, Call of Duty 2017 World War II, and in this case, we're actually talking about the multiplayer. For once, I have some good news for you, and of course, we're talking about Activision over here, so by all means, hold on to this for as long as possible, because good news is definitely very scarce. Anyway, on that note, when it comes to Call of Duty, that multiplayer side of things, normally speaking, almost everything is taken straight from the campaign. We're talking weapons, multiplayer maps, but even so much playable character models. So because of that, I was actually kind of hesitant to get all too excited for Call of Duty World War II. Simply because Call of Duty World War II's campaign is hyper-focused on, for starters, of course, the 1st Infantry Division, arguably one platoon or one squad within that division, just to make sure that we get more emotionally involved with the characters. And then on top of that, the whole campaign is of course set in Europe. So on that note, this meant that the multiplayer side of things was going to be a bit lacking in my head, or at least when it comes down to the weapons, because of course in this case, you're kind of stuck with American weapons, German weapons, maybe a couple of French resistance weapons in there. Then again, for as far as I know, they primarily use weapons given to them by the US and the British forces. So we're talking the Sten, the Browning, the Lee Enfield, all that jazz. So weapon-wise, of course, we'd be seeing some fan favorites return, say the M4 Carbine, the M1 Garand, the Thompson, the BAR, the M1911. And of course, in terms of the Germans, you've got the MP40, the STG-44, the Kar98, the Luger, and a whole bunch more. But at the end of the day, I feel like that would get repetitive really quickly. Now, of course, for those of you that don't know, and I'm sure most of you have heard this countless and countless times, but of course, the Russians were involved in World War II, the Japanese were involved in World War II. Hell, my favorite part that I know that sounds absolutely awful, or the thing that intrigues me the most about World War II, let's put it that way, is actually the Pacific theater, say the battle for Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, Okinawa, all that jazz. And actually, my favorite weapon in Call of Duty history is the Arisaka with the bayonet from Call of Duty World at War. Of course, the Japanese weapon, you've got the Type 100 and a whole bunch more. And initially, I thought that these weapons were not going to be implemented in Call of Duty World War II, because like I said, the single player is hyper-focused, so on that note, the multiplayer, in my head, was going to be hyper-focused as well. Anyway, a couple of days ago, Call of Duty World War II was actually covered in the Edge magazine. Personally, I haven't read the magazine. In fact, I haven't read a magazine in no one knows how long. Must have been at least like 10 years, something like that. Who reads nowadays anyway? So I actually read about this over on Reddit. I'll make sure to link the post in the description. There are some interesting details in here for sure regarding the campaign, regarding the multiplayer, and even a little snippet of zombies, which I might actually talk about at the end of this video just because it's like a two-liner, so like that. Anyway, on that note, let's get into the multiplayer details. For starters, you have a little bit about the pace. It's the fast-paced action experience you're used to, and gritty and visceral, but certainly the boost in thrust and abilities that we introduced in Advanced Warfare, and you've seen in other games that are around today. Future technology and exoskeletons are just not appropriate for this game. You can imagine trying to find a balance where it feels strategic and appropriate to the time periods, while still maintaining the fun of multiplayer. It's more grounded, more strategic, and I think you'll find it's not as fast-paced. Obviously, we already knew this, but next up, we have a little section about the multiplayer maps. The feeling of being able to identify your lanes and threats is so different when you're grounded. I know, right? It's much better. We spend a lot of time on map design, and there's a lot of fundamental rules about sightlines and engagements. But of course, it's transformational when you no longer have to worry about an unseen threat from the sky. Edge magazine also mentioned there are maps on different fronts, but Condrey and Schofield couldn't say too much before E3. Now, for those that don't know, E3 is actually happening, I think, next week. Hell, I think we're less than a week away, so on that note, hopefully we get to see some Russian weapons in action. I'm going to casually assume a lot of you want the PPSA's 41 to return, maybe even the most in the god, hell, the Tokarev SVT-40 or SVT-38. This one was actually featured in Call of Duty 2 as well. By far my favorite gun back in that game. A very consistent 2-shot kill, and that'd be pretty dope. Hell, whilst we're at it, chuck a Molotov cocktail in there. And of course, for the Japanese weapons, most definitely the Arisaka. Thank you very much. Either a sniper version, or of course one with the bayonets. I'd be very happy with that. The Type 100s, the Type 2, the MP34. Honestly, there's loads of different weapons. They could actually go the same route as Battlefield 1 and constantly introduce a new faction with every single DLC, because frankly, I don't think DLC maps are really the way to go nowadays. I think Call of Duty's DLC system is slightly outdated, because at the end of the day, the DLC we actually want are in supply drops, and frankly, I don't think anybody really cares about maps anymore. Unless, of course, we're talking zombies. Anyway, on that note, let me know in the comments down below what you think of all this. Let me know what weapon you're looking forward to seeing next week at E3. Personally, I want to see the RE Saka and the PPSH, but we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. Anyway, if you're excited for Call of Duty 2017 World War II, then don't forget to slap a like on it. Would be very much appreciated. Let's try to aim for 250 on today's video. If you want to, you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and those links are down below in the description. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for the continued support. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Take it easy.